Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And wow, guess what? It's Friday. I mean, it's been a wonderful, wonderful week. And we're going to continue that trend. We got an absolutely fantastic guest coming on the show. And we're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. And I tell you what, I'm excited about the show today. And I tell you, up here in Southern California, kind of chilly in the morning when I'm out doing my 6-mile hike, but, warm up. How you doing, Dr. Cooley? How you doing?
I'm doing great, James. And, we got a special guest on the show today that you have a lot in common with.
Oh, yeah.
So we're really excited to have him on, but I'm going to introduce the guest in a couple of minutes, but we're really excited to have him on to discuss his career and also his new book.
His new book and all the great things that he's doing. And I'm excited to have this guest on as well, because we do have a lot in common. Military, course, I'm in a better service because I'm Navy. Oh, no, I'm just joking.
Don't give it away.
So how you doing, Todd? How you doing in the studio, man?
I'm always good. Even better on a Friday. Even better than that when I get to listen to the James Cooley Show.
Man, you know what, man? This is going to be a good one today, Todd. And I tell you what, I hope you sit back and grab you about 8 bags of popcorn and with the avocado spray or oil.
Avocado spray to keep it healthy. All right, let's lock everybody in here in 3, 2, 1, locking it in.
Portions of today's show may be pre-recorded.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show.
Hello. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I tell you what, and as you see, we got the executive producer and the co-host, Michelle Cooley, and we got this absolutely fantastic guest that's coming on the show today. I'm excited because I am a guy that loves everything about leadership and legacy and life. I love the 3 L's. And I tell you what, we're going to have an absolutely fantastic time. And whichever platform that you're watching us on, whether it's E360 Television, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, iHeartRadio, or listening, Spotify, or over 68 live platform, welcome to the show. Even the radio, KCBQ, AM 1170 Answer. I tell you, if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is go to the platform that you're watching us on or you're listening to us on. Go to the comments on if you're watching us, asking the question that you might have. If you're listening, all you have to do is pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. That's KCBQ AM 1170 answer, FM 96.1 to answer, San Diego. That's 1-888-344-1170. Michelle, I'm excited about this guest.
Oh, yes. Can't wait to introduce him.
Well, I think we need to go ahead on and do that. Let's introduce the title of the show, and even though I gave it away, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely fantastic guest.
Yes, the title of today's show is Creating Excellence, Insights into Leadership, Life, and Legacy. And we're having a sit-down conversation with Bentley Nettles. He's a retired Brigadier General and former Executive Director of the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission. He's going to talk about the topics being the new sheriff in town, 3 steps to leadership, ideal team structure, building trust and walking a mile in the other person's shoes, letting others take the lead, and so many different things. So currently he works as an independent consultant for Gray Robinson, PA, in the alcohol regulatory practice. He was appointed TABC Executive Director in 2017, following successful careers as an attorney and as a Brigadier General for the Texas Army National Guard. Following his appointment as executive director, he got a TABC through the state sunset process and has identified new ways to increase agency effectiveness while improving customer service and efficiency. He graduated from Texas A&M University in 1985 with a bachelor's degree in business management and earned his law degree from the South Texas College of Law in 1987. He also earned a master's of Homeland Defense and Security from the Naval Postgraduate School and served a military fellowship at Tufts University Fletcher School of International Law and Diplomacy. He's received numerous military decorations, including the Legion of Merit, the Bronze Star Medal with 2 oak leaf clusters, and the Purple Heart. Prior to his retirement from the military, he served as general counsel for the Army Element Joint Force Headquarters in Austin. And you know what? We're going to learn so much more about this amazing general. Please welcome to the show, retired Brigadier General Bentley Nettles.
Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you.
How you doing, General?
I'm doing great. It's Friday.
It's an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. And I'll tell you what, leadership, one of my major trademarks, through not just through the military, but through life, through education. And it's so important to have an understanding of what that means. And many people are like, well, he was a born leader. I truly don't believe anybody is a born leader. I think to be a leader and to understand leadership, you have to first go through and be a follower. So we're going to get off into that one. But General, can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about you, where you grew up, what makes you so passionate about what you're doing, and we're going to get off into your book as well.
I grew up here in Texas, 5th generation, and love it. Wish we had a little cooler weather and some rain, but other than that, it's a great place to be. Went to Texas A&M University, and I absolutely agree with you. There are no born leaders because leadership, and I think one of the things we're missing in leadership nowadays is the idea that it's not about you. It's about the people that you serve, the people who help you on your team. That's true leadership. When you empower them to do something bigger than themselves, then you become a real leader.
Wow. You through your career, I'm talking about as a military officer, as a lawyer, as what you're doing right now, there had to have been a process where you gained certain strengths and weaknesses and understood the weaknesses and developed those strengths into ensuring that you get the right qualities to be a leader. Were there any particular, especially the military, as National Guard, that you looked up to that helped shape your way to be a leader? Because went all the way up and made general. So that's a milestone that many in the military would never, ever see, only the top 1 or 1%. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I can tell you, I've been honored to serve on many general officer staffs. I served on General Austin's staff in Afghanistan. I served on General Petraeus' staff in Iraq. I served on an Air Force 2-star in Texas. And what I saw amongst all the senior leaders was a willingness to listen to their staff before they made a decision. They didn't come in saying, well, we know how to do it. They came in and brought the subject matter experts in, listened to them, and then formulated their opinion about how and the direction they wanted to go. So that, I think, is probably one of the biggest takeaways that I had in my career was, listen to the people around you because they have good ideas about what's going on. They spend a lot of time working on it, and they are probably invested in your success.
They invest in your success. So and doing all these things, General, if you had to describe yourself with one word, one adjective, what would that be and why?
Well, I won't give you the one my wife might use, but I would say aggressive. I aggressively approach problems. I'm not hesitant to engage people, and I have confidence built over years of having successes, but that doesn't mean I didn't fail. I failed lots, but because of that aggressiveness, I got back in the fight.
And that's so important. You just mentioned something that a lot of people won't admit. I believe in order for us to learn, in order for us to get that, I can only speak for me in this one, to get that energy and juice that I can do this, it's going to require failure. If a person succeeds on everything that they do all the way through life, they're never going to learn anything. And they would be the only one in their world that thinking that they know more than everybody else because they have not had an opportunity to fall down, get back up, learn, and to put those thoughts and maybe a reshape of the mindset. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I tend to agree with you. I think, your best lessons learned are when you fail at something. And thankfully, when I failed, I had mentors and people who reached out to help me and said, look, it's not the end of the world. Get back in there and keep trying. And everybody fails. If you're not trying, you're not going to fail, right? But if you're trying to make a difference, if you're trying to do something that hadn't been done before, you're going to have mistakes and you're going to have some challenges.
Challenges is always there. And we're going to talk about some of those challenges in your new book once we get back from the break. We're going to talk about your book, Creating Excellency, Insights and Leadership, Life and Legacy. So we're going to pick that up, but we're going to have to take a station break right now. But we got so much more that we're going to talk to the General about when we get back. And I tell you, whichever platform that you're watching us on, you want to be part of the conversation. All you have to do is go to that platform, go to the comments, ask any question that you might have, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right. Hey. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James JC Cooley.
Making a difference in the lives of the youth in our community. You can give online at CooleyFoundation.org. Remember that every donation makes a difference regardless of size. The J.C. Cooley Foundation thanks you in advance for your contribution.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley.
Hello. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And I tell you what, I'm having such a great time with General Nettles. And I tell you, we're talking about his new book called Insights into Leadership, Life, and Legacy. And I know it's a great book. I mean, anytime we're talking about leadership, and you all already know me, I'm locked in. I'm always out to learn everything that I can for the betterment of myself, for the betterment of the folks that I'm around, for the betterment of family, friends. And I think you need to do the same thing. And so the general here is going to tell us a little bit about his book, why he wrote the book, and some of the things that is key to learning leadership, legacy, and life. So, General, can you tell our audience a little bit about your book, Creating Excellency, Insights in Leadership, Life, and Legacy? Why did you decide to write this book?
Well, it's something I thought about for a long time, and finally I was like, I need to do this. Otherwise, it's not going to get done. And mostly to share the experiences that I had so that other people that want to be leaders or in leadership positions, they can learn from that. So maybe they don't make the same mistakes or they get the permission to go ahead and try some of these techniques in order to do their job better.
So, what are some of the main insights in this book that you want the audience to understand, and so they can rush out and get this book?
Well, so one of the stories in there is in Afghanistan. My team had gone back into the Tora Bora Valley and the White Mountains, and we were meeting with the mayor and the village elders in different meetings. But we were there on a blue and white investigation. There was allegations that the U.S. had killed some 7 Afghan children in a mountain village. This village, to describe it, there were clay, dirt buildings. They had one generator, which was for their mosque. They got water through a canal every other day. there wasn't a lot that the central government could do to influence them. And so we went there, and the narrative they had was that we had killed their children. And the reality was we hadn't. A-10 guns have a very different impact on a child or a body than a small arms does. And so once we exhumed the bodies and realized what happened, we went in to visit with them. But as with all in the Afghan culture, Paskunwali, they have a way of doing business and not necessarily the way Americans do business. So I had to sit down with them and go through the ritual of drinking tea. And during the course of that, being the type A personality that I tend to be sometimes, I started to get to what I thought was the bottom of the issue. And my lieutenant thankfully pulled me back because they weren't ready to have that discussion yet. And I think it's important for leaders and future leaders to realize that you don't have to have the answer. You don't have to be the one who always solves the problem. You can let your staff or the people that work for you and with you solve that problem.
Wow. Yes. I mean, and most that's leadership, as you just put it, is we don't always have to solve the problem. As long as our people know that we have trust and confidence in them, and they see things that we don't see because they're closer. Many times they're closer to the problem or the issue that's going on, and we just have to sit back and trust in our people. You know, with that being said, General, you run the third largest law enforcement agency in Texas for the last 5 years, and when you replace someone who was forced to resign, how did you deal with being the new sheriff in town and building the trust among your team members?
Well, that was a real challenge, I'll be honest with you, because I made some mistakes in that process because I held a meeting. A couple of mistakes I held a meeting and I asked, I don't know why y'all are state employees, right? Explain to me why you want to do this job. Because, you know, we all have in our head that narrative about a lazy bureaucrat that doesn't get anything done. And I quickly realized, visiting with them, that they weren't like that at all. They had generations of workers that had been there. Their fathers had been with the agency, and they cared very deeply about the reputation of the agency. So I had to go in, kind of establish myself, and then start creating relationships with my employees. And one of the ways I did that, just like when I was a paratrooper lieutenant, I went out on patrol. I made sure that I went out and understood what the challenges that they had to do in their everyday job. You know, they didn't have to come to my office. I went to them. We had 45, 48 locations around the state of Texas. And I made a point to go out and visit all the locations that I could to see them where they were working and what they were doing.
Wow. And you're right about that. And, you know, just most leaders, especially when they're in charge of big organizations and, you know, many different locations, they feel that they have to be there at all the locations. And they don't. I believe that making sure that you have the right leaders in those organizations that you trust, and everybody knows what the company policies, what your policies are from top down, but also bottom up, where we are able to receive input, and making sure that the people that are under us understand that is there, where we are all trying to make each other better. You know, so General, as a leader stepping into a new environment, what you just talked about, what strategies do you employ to establish credibility, trust with a team that may have different expectations or established ways of operation? And then the new guy come in and we look and we see that this might not be as productive as it should be. what are some of the things that you did to bring everybody on board from a leadership perspective and understand the vision of the organization and things that expectations that we wanted from the folks that are below us and making them better, making us better?
Well, and I think if you go, I encourage everybody listening to this to get the book, because in that I talk about the 90-day plan, which I've used at almost every organization I've ever been. The first thing is to understand what the mission is and then how you can make that better. What does excellence look like in your organization? And if you don't have a good idea of that, you need to ask questions. You need to be curious and find out what your agency or what your entity is doing. For the TABC, they were both a regulatory organization and a law enforcement organization. So I actually had two very different cultures that we had to try to bridge. And so going out and talking about where they were, where the organization was, and what they thought the organization needed to be. Then you can develop a vision of that excellence, and then you articulate that across the organization. And then it's about taking care of people, right? You take care of people inside your organization and the customers of the organization. You identify the standard that you want to have, the standard of excellence, and then you train people to that standard and finally hold them accountable, because nobody wants to be really doing a great job and not be recognized, or your fellow employee over here not doing a good job and nobody's saying anything about it.
Wow. What are some of the things Bentley Lodge's law enforcement agents in Texas, what are some of the things that your organization are doing to combat certain issues and concerns and problems in the state of Texas?
Well, so one of the challenges we were given was during the middle of my second year, the governor asked us, could we impact human trafficking? Well, because we had 58,000 permitted locations across the state of Texas, it was estimated that human trafficking and illegal activity was happening in about 5 to 10% of those. But that's still a large number. So the challenge we had was I wasn't given any more resources, no more funding to try to impact this. So we came up with kind of a creative idea. We found the beer truck drivers who go into these locations almost on a daily, sometimes at least weekly basis. And we worked with them to create a public-private partnership so that they and educated them would go out at 5 o'clock in the morning, talk to them about what human trafficking looks like inside a bar, a restaurant, an organization, a convenience store. And so as a result of this, we had a tremendous success, and so successful that the amount of reporting that came into our agency grew by almost tenfold. Well, that had its own problems, right? Because I didn't have the resources to investigate those. So we worked with other law enforcement organizations to kind of prioritize those and try to figure out how do we work these. It was so successful that actually the National Beer Distributors Association has adopted it, and now it's being done in 12 other states.
Wow. So they took what you all are doing and implemented that. And I believe that there have to be a lot more of that, where we take something that's working here in another state and look at the pros and cons and implement those things into our states or whatever that might mean, that's going to help combat whatever issues and concerns that might be going on. I tell you what, we're going to take another station break, but we're going to come back. We got a lot more to chat with the general about. And I tell you again, if you want to be part of the conversation, I'll make it easy. All you have to do is pick up your phone and dial 1-888 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Craving a slice of Chicago right here in Temecula wine country? Then dive into legendary Chicago deep dish style pizza at Rosati's Pizza Pub. Piled high with gooey cheese, rich tomato sauce, and your favorite toppings, Rosati's delivers the taste of the Windy City right to your table or front door. Enjoy the cozy pub atmosphere and an impressive selection of Temecula wines. Come on down to Rosati's Pizza Pub for your slice of Chicago right here on Rancho California Road, or order online at myrosatis.com. Rosati's, where Chicago deep dish pizza meets Temecula charm.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection.
Victim of life circumstance and dare to become an overcomer, because a bigger, better, and more impactful life awaits you. Get the new audio version of his book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, by Dr. James Cooley, on Amazon or wherever books are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and I tell you, just sitting back, listening to the General talk about his book and talk about organizations and, creating that cohesiveness and togetherness that everybody in the organization is so important, and making sure that whatever goals that the organization is doing, that we're working together to come up with solutions to resolve and solve some of the issues that might be going on. So I tell you, it's this is a great show, and you got to. The General is going to tell you where you can get his book at, and I think Michelle is going to ask him that question in a few minutes. But I encourage everybody to go out and buy the book, and read for yourself. I mean, it's so many great things in there, and I tell you, I want to get Todd. Todd, little quick comment. Todd, what do you think about the show so far on leadership?
Great show, great guests. First, I have to say thank you, General Nettles, for your service, and also it's very commendable what you're doing to combat human trafficking. It's just very sad that that's prevalent in our society today. And here, JC, the studios here in San Diego, we're a border town, and we're one of the worst cities when it comes to human trafficking. So I'm glad that we've got good guys out there like General Nettles combating it. That's what we need, more of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Michelle, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you, James. General Nettles, having the ideal team structure is so important. And as we know, each individual, everybody has different personalities and there's certain leadership styles. One size doesn't fit all. So can you talk about, first of all, the 3 steps to embrace the leadership style that you need to have an ideal team structure, if that makes sense?
Sure. Thank you. Well, there's a lot of subject matter experts out there that will tell you what the right size may be, but the reality is it's what the size that you're most comfortable with. You need to be able to spend time with them on a weekly or bi-monthly basis. And so if you have too many people, you're not going to be able to give them the time that's necessary to spend with them to find out what their challenges are. And so for me, when I first got to TABC, I had 11 direct reports, and I quickly realized that wasn't going to work for me. I didn't have the time to give them each the attention that they needed to help guide them and to help mentor them to become who they could be. So I instead had 3 deputies and divided up the organization underneath them. Now, then later on, I added some additional direct reports, but at the most I had was 5 to 7. And that kind of goes against the traditional recommendations. But my suggestion would be, what is comfortable for you? Because if you're comfortable, then you're going to do, and I would go down on a, every other week basis and sit down with like my CFO. I would sit down with my operations officer. I would sit down with my intel person. Even though they didn't report directly to me anymore, I still wanted to give them the opportunity to visit with them and make sure that they knew that what they did was important, and I was always open to them.
Wow. There's certain qualities that leaders need to possess in order to create an ideal team structure to promote resilience as well as excellence. Can you go over some of the qualities that you feel that a leader needs to possess?
I think, yes, I agree with you. There are things that a leader should possess, but also think that you can build your team and they can possess some of those characteristics. What you really need to be is open to empowering others to do their job so that you're not the one trying to do it all, because you can't do it all. And even as hard as you work, that's one of the problems we have in the military. We get young lieutenants and they think, well, I've got to do everything. No, you can't do everything. You have to learn to work with your subordinates, your peers, and your bosses. Right. So those characteristics I think would be important. The ability to communicate clearly, the ability to collaborate with your peers, and the ability to empower your subordinates to do the job that you need to do. So in my book, I talk about, taking care of creating the vision of excellence, taking care of people, whether they're your employees or your customers, and then finally setting a standard and holding people accountable for it. So I think those characteristics are critical to any success.
There's a chapter in your book called Inside Enemy Territory, when you kind of discuss about how new leaders are needed, but not always wanted. Can you kind of discuss that with the audience?
Well, I think it's critically important. You're going to find yourself at some point in your career where you're put into a position that, like I was, where a very popular executive director was pushed out. I had nothing to do with that, but I was asked to take over the agency and restore the public's trust in it. So I had to gain the trust of the employees that were somewhat suspect about what I was going to do, because they're always the "I'll be here" people, right? Those that say, I was here when you got here, I'll be here when you're gone, and you're not going to make me do anything. And if you can figure out how to influence them, how to get them on board with the vision of creating excellence within the organization, that's when you really start moving the needle.
You mentioned in your book a lot about building trust. Can you talk about that? Trust isn't, I guess you can kind of discuss, even when you're the new person there, these people don't know you, but you have to develop trust. Can you kind of discuss about how to build trust amongst your team leaders? I'm going to pass this over to Dr. Cooley.
Sure. So a couple of things when I first started there, my predecessor had, if you were called up to the director's office, you were summoned. And I was like, okay, how do we get rid of this concept? So I would regularly meet with my direct reports in my office or in the conference room next to my office so that they knew they weren't being called to my office to get in trouble. It was an exchange of information. The other part, I call just management by walking around. Oftentimes on Monday morning with a cup of coffee or Friday evening, I would go and walk around, my headquarters and talk to people and see how they were doing, find out about their lives, find out what the challenges are. Because I truly believe you can make somebody professionally fail if they've got enough stress going on in their personal life. And if you're not aware of that, you may take the wrong action. And then finally was just going out and seeing them do their job. At the TABC, we did minor sting operations to see if people would sell alcohol to minors. And so I think I was the only director that ever gone on one, went out with a team and saw how they did it, saw the challenges. And I think that's important because, you can get the data, you can get the dashboard, and the statistics. But until you know what really is involved in doing that operation day in and day out, you don't have a good understanding of what it takes to make it better.
Wow. I tell you what, hold that thought, General. We're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back. We're going to pick it back up because we got a lot more that we're going to talk about. And I tell you, if you want to be part of this great conversation, all you have to do is go to the platform that you're watching us on, go to the comments, asking the question that you might have, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
A Black Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com.
Then dive into legendary Chicago deep dish style pizza at Rosati's Pizza Pub. Piled high with gooey cheese, rich tomato sauce, and your favorite toppings, Rosati's delivers the taste of the Windy City right to your table or front door. Enjoy the cozy pub atmosphere and an impressive selection of Temecula wines. Come on down to Rosati's Pizza Pub for your slice of Chicago right here on Rancho California Road, or order online at myrosatis.com. Rosati's, where Chicago deep dish pizza meets Temecula charm.
James, JC, Cooley.
Hello. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, this is a great conversation that I'm having with General Nettles. And I tell you, you got to go out and get his book. And that's the first question, General. How can viewers and our listeners get a copy of your book?
Well, great. Well, thanks for asking. It's available on Amazon and Kindle, and I'm working on getting an audio book, which should be available on Audible by the end of November, I hope.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to do the audio book yourself?
Well, we've got the recording done. We're going through the edits, and hopefully going to get it loaded up. Again, I've learned more about bookmaking and those kind of things than I ever thought I would learn. So it's all very interesting.
Oh, it's very interesting. And I had to do a couple of my audio books. And I tell you, General, the audio book, doing that was like 10 times harder than writing the book for me. It was, because my producers would not let me get away with anything. When I made a mistake, they like, okay, start over. Let's do it one more time. And then they wasn't recording it because they wanted to make sure I got it right. So I hope it's going a little better with you, but we got them out there. So yeah. Hey, General, in your book, you mentioned a lot of leaders fall into the trap that they have to do it all. If it's got to be done, it's up to me. In your book, you shared a story in your book about how often it is to let others take the lead and get the experience and get an understanding and report to us. What are your thoughts, and how does that shape your perspective on leadership?
Well, I think it's a trap we all fall into, right? And it's one of the things that's missing nowadays in leadership. We think about whether it be professional athletes or other political leaders that, well, if I'm going to accomplish that, I've got to do it. Well, no. Instead, you need to think about it. What are you doing for your team? Because when you empower your team to succeed, you're going to succeed. Jesus washed his disciples' feet. What are you doing for your team to help them succeed? Because again, you can't do it all, especially with an organization at 635 people. You've got to have your own disciples out there leading and carrying forth your message of what excellence looks like. So you can't be everywhere. You've got to shift your paradigm, your focus to serving others.
It's so important, General, that you bring that up, because if a leader feels that he have to do everything or she have to do everything, you can imagine how the people that are below them are thinking, and that creates the sense of powership, everything. I got to do it. I got to do all these things, and a lack of trust. And we lose people if that's our thought process, and we have to be very careful and not to allow ourselves to get caught up in a situation, regardless of what the situation is. Sometimes a leader is three different leadership. Sometimes a leader have to sit back and just be at the chapel and listen to everything that the people come and say. They might not just want you to listen to them. Sometimes they have to be the umpire, call the ball and strikes. And building their team. And sometimes they just have to just sit back and coach coach their team and coach the people that are going to represent them when they are not there. And with 45 organizations around Texas, you know, you have to have people, and you already know that can represent you, understand the mission, understand everything that's going on in the organization when we are not there, and we have to give them trust. And sometimes, General, people sometimes fall down sometimes, but we have to lift them back up. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. So, you know, as the leader, you're responsible. You're always responsible, and you should be. You can delegate authority, though, to allow other people to help accomplish those tasks. And one of the challenges I think as we all have is, how do you step in the other person's shoes? So when we came out of COVID, we knew that there were going to be angry constituents, angry customers dealing with the TABC. It didn't matter whether we were right or wrong. They were angry because they had been shut down and they were trying to rebuild their lives. So we actually worked with Disney, and we worked with Teeks, the A&M, to develop our internal customer service training program so that I could get my frontline people focused on not their challenges for the day, but the challenges of people coming in to see them. You know, and how do you make their day better? How do you help them get back in business and do what they want to do, and that is get on with their lives.
Get on there with their lives. General, I want to switch to something else you write about. You mentioned legacy. Can you tell our viewers and listeners, what does legacy mean to you?
So one of the challenges I brought in another retired general to help me with my training program. And he and I would butt heads because we're used to doing it the military leadership way. And I said, we can't do that here. They've not gone through that process. We have to get from them what they think their leaders should look like. And so I wanted to build a bench for the organization. I wanted future leaders to be prepared to take over. And so to me, that's the legacy that we had to build. And so the employees actually told us what they thought their leaders should do and how they should act. Then we built a training program to help train our managers to do just that. And, my hope is, and I know that they're still using that, even though I've been gone from the agency for 2 years, because they built it. That's the legacy that you want, is that whatever that excellence looks like, if you can help them identify it and help them build it within their organization, then that legacy will survive you.
That legacy will survive. General, we're down to the last minute and a half of the show. What are 3 takeaways that you want our viewers and our listeners to take away from this great conversation in your book?
Anybody can be a leader if you're listening to my voice and listen to this show. You don't have to be. You're not born with it. There are skills that you can develop. And what's highlighted in this book can help you when you're faced with those kind of situations, so that you don't shift into that automatic, it's about me, I've got to do it, I've got to succeed. And instead, as a leader, sometimes you really have to step back and say, I trust you. You can do this. I've got your back. Go out there and let's accomplish something.
And, you just mentioned the thing, trust. Trust is when they know that you are leading by example, and the thing that you're asking them to do, that's what you are doing. So, hey, General, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. We got to get you back again if your schedule permits, but I want to thank you so much. And I encourage everybody to go out and purchase his book. General, real quickly, can you tell them the title of your book again and where they can get it at?
Yeah, it's an honor to be on your show. The title of the book is Creating Excellence, Insight to Leadership, Life, and Legacy. And you can get that on Amazon.
Get it on Amazon. So I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely outstanding show and great guests. I'd like to thank our studios, KCBQ AM 1170, The Answer FM 96.1, The Answer out of San Diego, Toddy, that's what I call it. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. And I tell you what, always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back, and you can catch us tomorrow, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Hey, folks, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than we're being told in the news?